Oh my goodness. Hey everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. We will get started probably at about 3:05 just to give everyone enough time to hop on the call so they don't miss anything. So I'll mute myself um, until then, and I'll also write it in the chat in case anybody hops on. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. If I sound distracted, I really apologize. There's some jackhammering going on right by our office. So, anyways, thank you for hopping on the call this afternoon for our first quarterly conference call. Let me ask, can you guys hear me okay? If you could just write in the chat box before I say anything else. Great. Thank you guys so much. And I had wrote in the chat box, we know that sometimes we have more than one member at each of our sites or at some of our sites. And if you are one of those and you have someone else that's hopped on your call or on the call and we only see your name, please let us know. That way we can make sure that the other member is included and has, gosh, we know that they participated with you as well. Okay, so we're going to do a quick check-in. If you don't have access to like your mic and you can unmute yourself, or if you prefer to just answer in the chat box, that's totally fine too. But we're going to go down and I'll just kind of call on everyone so we're not all unmuting ourselves at the same time. But if you can just, Krista, are you going to write in the chat box or are you going to unmute yourself? Whatever works. Okay, so we'll move on. But we're just going to do a quick check-in of, who's on the call. So if you could just say your name, your service site, and location, and then tell us one thing that you hope to get accomplished this week. And so I'll let the people that are wanting to just write it in the chat box go ahead and do that. Elizabeth, if you would like to unmute yourself, you can. Okay, so we're just gonna, Heather, if you would like to unmute yourself, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, so my name is Heather Borgren. I am at HHCK, which is located here in Frankfort, Kentucky. One thing I hope to accomplish this week is I'm working with clients today applying for a housing choice voucher through KHC and getting them transitioned from permanent supportive housing to this voucher.
Great, thank you, Heather. Hunter, if you want to unmute yourself, you can.
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Hunter. I serve at Arbor Youth Services here in Lexington, Kentucky. And one thing that I would like to get accomplished this week is just to get a little bit more comfortable with the HMIS, the Homeless Information System.
Good deal, yeah. I hear that's a bit crazy. The next I see is iPhone. If you want to unmute yourself and say who you are and where you're serving and where your service site is located, like the city, and what's something that you hope to get accomplished this week. Okay. Jesse, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name is Jessie Harris. I am at Hope Swings located here in Richmond, and my goal for the week is to finish up the financial literacy course I'm making.
Great. Can't wait to see that. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse is a returning member. Let's see. I think Kathy wrote in the chat box, and we'll get to that. Kelsey, if you would like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, you're more than welcome to.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I am at Henderson Christian Outreach in Henderson, Kentucky. And one thing I want to accomplish this week is figuring out how to properly submit all the reports.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. We got you covered. Thanks, Kelsey. Madeline, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, my name is Madeline Roberts. I am serving at the New Housing in Louisville, Kentucky, and something that I hope to get accomplished this week is just getting through all the, so this is my first week, and just getting through all the paperwork and the pre-service orientation forms and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you on board. I know we've probably thrown a lot at you, and it'll all level out. Thanks. Rosary, would you like to mute yourself and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, my name is Rosary. I am at the emergency shelter of Northern Kentucky in Covington. And this week I have been doing a lot of the HMIS system stuff training, so I really hope to get most of that finished and certified for that.
Great, that's awesome. Thanks, Rosary. And then I'm just going to kind of read through the chat quickly for those of you who wrote in the chat. Krista Webb, she serves at Gateway Homeless Coalition in Moorhead, and she is hoping to, she's working on 3 transactions into permanent housing. Oh, transitions. Oops. I read, that's awesome. That's great. Let me move back up here. Kathy Patton, she's serving at Christian Community Outreach, which is in Henderson, Kentucky. Tammy Gullett, she serves at Shelter of Hope in Ashland, Kentucky, and she is hoping, she's wanting to accomplish, housing more people who are, experiencing homelessness. Elizabeth Miller, she's also serving at Gateway Homeless Shelter in Moorhead, Kentucky, where Chris is at as well. And she is hoping to help get one of her clients out of shelter this week. Awesome. Sounds like there's some great things going on down in Moorhead. Kimberly Dean, she's serving in Owensboro at the Daniel Patino Shelter, and she is hoping to establish a landlord database in your area. I think that will be so helpful, especially just with how many landlords there probably are in that area, and just kind of having one location to find all of those. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We're happy that you're on the call, and sounds like you guys have a really good focus on what you want to get accomplished this week. I'm probably moving on into next week. All right, we'll move on. Okay, we just wanted to do a few refreshers. As some of us, I'm sorry if you're on the call and we just did an orientation with you yesterday, but we're going to do a little bit of a refresher because most on the call, it's been a few weeks, and so we just really want to make sure everyone understands the resources and everything that's offered or that can be offered to them while they're in service. Health insurance. This is offered to members who do not have health care coverage while they're in service, or if they were to lose their health care coverage while they're in service, we can get them enrolled into our policy. So our HHCK does pay the premium, so that's not something that you would see taken out of your living allowance every month. It is a basic 80-20 plan once you've met that deductible. Your ID cards, they are digital. We can send you your Cigna ID number, again, if you need it. But you access your card through your MyCigna or the MyCigna website and your profile. If you would like a hard copy of your card, please email me and Caitlin so that we can get that request sent to you. If you are enrolled into the health insurance plan, if you have any questions, you can reach out to Cigna customer service at that 1-800 number on the screen, or you can look on the MyCigna application or the website. And of course, if for some reason you can't get in touch with Cigna, please talk to me and Caitlin. So they may reach out to, or we might get the answers to your questions, or we might know them. Another reminder, if you no longer need coverage through Cigna, please email us immediately. We don't want to, interrupt any healthcare benefits. Again, this is only available to our members. Unfortunately, we are not able to offer it to dependents or spouses. And this is only for the AmeriCorps state members, not AmeriCorps Vista members. Two separate programs. Just a summary, the deductible for the plan is $175. So once that is met, that's when your insurance will pay 80% of the expenses, and you would be responsible for 20%. The maximum out of pocket is $2,750 for in-network, and that does include the deductible. The plan does cover 100% of preventative care. And then we also wanted to make sure that you know, if you were to go to an urgent care clinic, there is a $20 copay, and then it would be covered at 80%. And then for an emergency room visit, it would be a $100 copay and then covered at 80%. So if you have any specific questions, that are specific to you and your situation, feel free to reach out to me or Caitlin, or talk to Cigna. Returning members, please make sure that you download your new ID cards on your MyCigna profile. The prescription holder has changed, so that number is not going to work past September 1st. So we don't want you to be on the hook to, have to pay anything. So that's why we want to make sure that you get your new ID cards downloaded so that you can use them. Child care assistance. So there was that intent to apply, or the waiver of eligibility and coverage in your member enrollment paperwork. That you guys filled out what probably feels like forever ago. You have to apply through the AmeriCorpsChildcare.com website, and that's not something that's offered through our office. It is offered through AmeriCorps. It is based on the total household income, so it's pretty similar to the state's child care assistance program. And if you are enrolled, please let us know. I'm forgetting something, and Caitlin mentioned it on the morning call. Can you remind me, Caitlin? I think we have to, the reason why we have to know that you've enrolled is because we have to confirm that. And so if you're going through that process. Okay, just another refresher on your member resources. I know we've talked about the member assistance program, and we're going to talk about it again too, because we want to make sure that you guys get registered and use this benefit while you're in our program. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You have 24/7 24/7 instant, it's confidential. It has teleservice counseling for you. There's a chat and text counseling and coaching. So that kind of helps, with being in a pandemic right now, but still needing, to talk to someone. And they're able to offer medical advocacy, there's life coaching, and so much more, work and service and like life resources and referrals for other services that you may be looking for. We just want to make sure that you guys understand that, it would be awesome to just go ahead and enroll in it or register into the program. And that way, if for some reason during your term of service, maybe not right now, you're able to access that. You gain access by calling the 1-800 number on the screen or the My Life Expert website. When you register, you'll need to either provide the Homes for All AmeriCorps program name or the organization name, and that's going to be the Homeless and Housing Coalition of Kentucky, because that's our operating agency. Caitlin, okay, yeah, that's what I forgot to mention. Kind of to back up to child care assistance, if you've submitted an application for it, it won't go into effect until we confirm your participation as a member. So we haven't received a request for confirmation. So if you think that you may have applied and haven't heard anything, that's why we need to know. So sorry to kind of back it up a little bit, but that's what I was forgetting to add. Thanks, Caitlin. We also just wanted to talk about the different platforms that you can access the information that we talk about, whether it's in a training or a conference call or paperwork. We just wanted to go over the different platforms again. That way, if you're sending us an email or something and we don't get back to you, right away, give us a grace period of, a day. But that way you're not having to wait on that answer from us. And so that's why we try to keep all of our social media platforms and channels updated so that you have access to whatever you're needing. The first one being the HHCK website. If you go to the Homes for All AmeriCorps tab, and then you'll see a little drop-down box and it's going to say current member resources. We keep this up to date. As you can see, it has links to our social media channels. It has the member manual, the orientation training packet from earlier, from a couple weeks ago. It has the performance measure forms, those recorded sessions that we had during orientation. They're all uploaded as well. And then, just some other related documents that go with the performance measures that you'll be doing throughout the program year. So we hope that you guys do take advantage of this, just so you know that you have different ways to look for stuff. We have our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it if you want, but when we record any trainings, this is where we're going to upload them. So all you have to do is go to YouTube and search Homes for All AmeriCorps, and you should see our page. But yeah, this is where all of our trainings are going to be uploaded so that you can watch them at your own time. Okay, so there is going to be an upcoming event in October, or training. Our state service commission is called Serve Kentucky, and so they are oh gosh, I'm forgetting. They oversee every AmeriCorps program in Kentucky. And so every year they have an annual training called AmeriCorps Launch. And that's usually in person, but this year it will be virtual, and it will be on October 20th and 21st. This is a required training for all AmeriCorps members. So it's not just Homes for All members, it's every AmeriCorps member in our state. Registration for this will open September 21st and will close on October 12th. When we get more information about, the registration links and things like that, we will be sure to send that out to you guys, and also put it on the Homes for All Google Calendar so that you have that information as well. But we wanted to make sure that we got these dates out to everyone with plenty of time. There will be 3 different training tracks, and all of the sessions will be recorded. So that way, if you have registered for one training and maybe there was another training that was offered at the same time that you were really interested in as well, you'll be able to still have access to that and review it on your own time. There is a phone app that's being developed right now, and so it will be a way for you to be able to, download the app onto your phone and remember what training sessions you registered for. So it'll be an easy way for you to keep up with that. We do know that on both days, the trainings will start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are in the Central Time Zone, they will get started at 8:30. We usually, when we are in person, there are times available, for networking with other programs and other members in programs. And so we do know that they have built in, Serve Kentucky has built in time to allow that networking to still happen. It will just be, virtually this year. So when we get more information, we'll definitely send it out to you guys, but we wanted to make sure that you are able, or you have enough time to get it put on your calendar so that you don't schedule anything on those 2 days. Oh, and I forgot to mention, on the second day, you will do a swearing in. You'll do the swearing in and the AmeriCorps pledge again with everyone. Hold on just a second. Okay. We are going to talk a little bit about member safety. In America Learns tomorrow, there will be a member safety form that's going to open up. It is super short, but it asks the questions that we need to know to make sure that your site is ensuring your safety. It will close on the 11th because we don't feel like you guys don't need a lot of time to fill out this form. It's brief, but we want to make sure that if you are serving on site, you are able to practice social distancing. You know, is your site able to offer masks to you while you are there, and any other type of like personal protective equipment, if that's, you know, cleaning supplies, gloves, things to that nature. So that will that form will launch tomorrow. So you will receive an email from America Learns letting you know that it will be open. If you could, in the chat box, if you are serving at your site, let us know, like just write like serving at site. If you're doing kind of a split, serving at site, serving at home, type that in. Or if you're strictly serving from home, type that in, please. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, thanks. The reason why I'm asking is because the next thing that we're going into is teleserving. And what that means is, you know, what is teleservice? That means that your service is from your home or offsite, and it's not from your normal or the member's normal service location. It's not the same as remote service that's also listed on your timesheet. So if you are serving from your house, you have to document that on your timesheet that day. Okay, so we were going to do a poll, but I'm horrible with technology, and so that didn't work. So that's why I asked you in the chat box. Thanks. So Caitlin and I will be reaching out to you and your supervisor, just so we understand the expectations of how you and your site supervisor are able to communicate with each other, you know, to make sure that that's still, you know, you're still receiving that support and that supervision while you're not serving on site. You know, we don't want to risk any like attendance abuse or anything like that. So please keep that in mind, because lying on or falsifying time on your timesheets, it will have you released from service. So we just want to be able to check in with you guys. This is something that just recently came up, and so that's why we'll be reaching out to make sure that you are still being able to get that appropriate supervision and support, and also to make sure that you are, you know, still able to have meaningful connections with your community and with your clients. Okay. we'll go on to prohibited activities. This is just a review too, and I know you guys are probably like, oh my gosh, they really, if you're a returning member, you're probably like, gosh, they've really hit prohibited activities hard this year. But that's because we really want to know, or we really want you to understand this. I'm not going to read through all of these. You guys have, completed the training with Serve Kentucky, and we talked about it during our orientation. But again, most of the prohibited activities reference to anything that is political or religious. So keep those things in mind. Also, you can't conduct a voter registration or provide abortion services or referrals. So I think we can say that we're all pretty confident in understanding prohibited activities, but we just wanted to touch base on it one more time. We just want to make sure that you keep in mind that you can do those things on your own time as a private citizen. These are things that you cannot be doing while you are serving as an AmeriCorps member or representing Homes for All and charging time. So trying to count hours. These are just things that you can't be doing. And just keep in mind that you should not wear the AmeriCorps logo while you're doing that. So just not identifying as an AmeriCorps member while you participate in those things. Also, just keep in mind, you can't recruit or manage volunteers to do any of those prohibited activities. That is still not a thing that you can do. So issue-based versus politically based, I will hand it over to Caitlin so she can talk about that.
Hey everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Great. So as Holly has said, we've talked a lot about prohibited activities, and we thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about the difference between what is considered an issue-based activity versus politically based activities, specifically partisan political activities. And so one of the recent examples or things that have come out from CNCS, which is the federal agency that oversees our AmeriCorps programs, is about Black Lives Matter. And so what the decision was coming from them was that Black Lives Matter is not a partisan political activity. It is an umbrella term for ideas and objectives and groups, and people are seeking to raise awareness and respond to issues associated with racism. And it's like a very small description. There's a lot more to it, but when we're looking at like a larger scale, we're talking about Black Lives Matter Global Network. And the reason that this is not considered politically based is because Black Lives Matter does not identify any particular politicians or political parties are identified with those, and it does not contain any candidate endorsements or partisan political activity descriptions or requests for support to engage in partisan political activity. And that information and decision was taken from, Black Lives Matter's platform and their website and all of that. And so, like we said, I think it is helpful to understand what is considered issue-based versus politically based. And so there are the examples that were provided by CNCS are on the screen, and they're really, I think, clear partisan political activities. The first being Make America Great Again, which is the Trump campaign signature. And so having that on your email signature, or stating that to your beneficiaries or your service site staff, that would be clear partisan political activity, and so that would be prohibited while you're serving as an AmeriCorps member or logging hours or under the perception of being an AmeriCorps member. Forward Together was the Clinton campaign's slogan, and so that would be another example. And one that isn't focused on, slogans or email activity or conversation would be canvassing for a particular candidate while wearing your AmeriCorps t-shirt and your lanyard, once you get those, of course. So yeah, I think it's important to know that AmeriCorps and CNCS and HHCK, we're not trying to infringe on your personal rights. And I think a lot of stuff gets labeled as political when it's not necessarily political. So if you have any questions on the difference and what's appropriate as an AmeriCorps member, we're happy to talk through that with you. So, all right, back to Holly.
Thanks. Well, hold on. Jesus. Okay. We'll do a little loan forbearance review quickly. So if you are looking to put your loans in forbearance while you are in service, you have to make that request through your My AmeriCorps portal. So again, that is the profile where you applied to our program. And so I put a little screenshot on here. Your profile may look a little bit different than mine just because you are someone who is in service and I'm an alum of the program. So it could look a little bit different, but everything should be in the same area. Just a reminder that if you do make a loan or a forbearance request, the loan holder is the one that decides your eligibility. It's not HHCK or CNCS. And if your loan is in default, you may not be eligible for that forbearance. So just making sure that the loan that you are wanting to put into forbearance is in a good standing. There was a really good resource that I found on Vista Campus, and I know you guys don't serve in the Vista program, but it is relevant for anyone that's in service. And so it's a recorded webinar that talks about like managing your student loans, and they talk about, the forbearance request. And so I added that link just for, your own reference, if that's something that you want to look into. Another thing about loan forbearance or making a interest payment request once your service is over, if you have any issues like finding your loan holder or like searching for that and you can't, or really any other like questions like that, you really will need to reach out to the National Service Help Desk. Unfortunately, that's not something that like we have access to. We don't have access to your My AmeriCorps portal. So those, the National Service Help Desk, they'll be able to pull what you're looking at and really be able to answer those more like specific questions that you may have or the issues that you are running into. Performance measure review. Okay, this is where I'm gonna send it back over to Caitlin.
Okay, so I know this is everyone's favorite subject, and we're going to talk a little bit about performance measures. This is something that we talked about in mid-August during our virtual orientation, and it's kind of a lot when you are first starting in your service term, and so we wanted to touch base a little bit about it again. And offer some more insight, just because you may have already started serving clients or are getting ready to in the next few weeks. And so we're just going to kind of skim over things since we have about 15 minutes left in the call. And so in the next few weeks, we'll probably go ahead and like release a video or some more guidance so you can walk through it at your own pace. And then we're always happy to set up a time to speak individually about how performance measure applies to your position and what you're doing at your service site. So our goals as a program are to serve 2,500 people, and that includes adults and children. And that doesn't mean that each of you are responsible for 50 clients or 50 households. There's no specific number tied to your site. It's just collectively, that's what we're aiming to serve. And then our goal is to house 1,000 of those individuals. So whether that means we built or repaired their home or found housing for them or secured a voucher, whatever that may be. We do have a third component to our performance measures and what we report as, part of our program's impact is that our members will collectively recruit, train, or manage 550 volunteers. And this can be on an episodic one-time basis or a recurring basis, meaning they, volunteer more than once during the term of service. And those volunteers are trained, recruited, or managed to provide direct services or similar services to what you do. So say you have, a banker come teach a financial literacy class once a week, and you are, responsible for training and managing them. That's a volunteer that you would report on. Not everyone works with volunteers, and that is fine. But if you are a member that serves at a site that, you do this stuff, you will report on volunteers. Holly's making me fly through these slides. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so a couple of best practices as we get further into the service here, and hopefully you're getting a better idea of, what your year is going to look like. My recommendation, and really what I think is, the best way to go about this is to go ahead and add these performance measure forms to whatever your service site's intake or like service start process. So a good example would be if you are with a shelter and you conduct a VI SPDAT, you could add this to that time. So you can take a few moments to fill it out instead of having to go back and collect all that data and add it to the form. So while we say that you should add it to your intake process, you are going to find out what works best for you. So because there's 2 steps to those performance measure forms, the first being that paper form, and the second part being uploading it to America Learns, you can be filling them out and adding them to America Learns as you go throughout the month, or you can designate a specific day to upload all of the performance measure reports on each household. Another thing that, has just come up a few times is questions on the services start date and what that means, because sometimes we have households that have been in services before you started your AmeriCorps service, or they've been served by your site before and now they're back in services. So another way you can think about this is the AmeriCorps services start date. So the date that you started working with the household within this program year. And again, our program year started August 1st, so those services start dates are always going to be after August 1st, 2020. So if you are on this call and the one thing you take away from what I've said over the last few minutes, that should be that everyone on this call completes a performance measure form, because all of you are serving people or serving a household. So if you're on this call and you're thinking this doesn't apply to me, that is not the case. Everyone will fill these out. The one report that not everyone will fill out is the volunteer form, because again, not all of you are working with volunteers. So the date to keep in mind is the 15th of each month. We just think it's helpful for you all to get in a routine to remember that, oh, it's the 15th, it's coming up, I got to get my stuff into AmeriCorps Learns. So once again, you can upload them as you go throughout the month, but at least by the 15th of each month, you should add the households that you served for the previous month. You only fill out one report per household, so you don't have to do it every single month. The only time you would have to go back in and edit that household is once the household receives housing or their services are completed. So again, only one report per household. And if you have any questions on performance measure reporting, like I said, we'll release a video kind of going through it, you know, more step by step, and hopefully that'll be helpful. And then we will reach out individually, because hopefully by October you all have started serving people and have clients to report on. So I will hand that back to Holly now.
Sorry, I feel like I did not mean to get so fast with my slide change. Okay, really quick, in the monthly email, you guys have probably, or hopefully you have already read that. That was sent out from the Homes for All email. We're gonna be doing a little coffee break on September 16th. And so that's from 2 to 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in Central Time, 1 to 2:30. And so we just think it would be a good time to let you guys kind of network and like talk to each other and get to know other members in the Homes for All, AmeriCorps State program that you are serving in, but also our Homes for All AmeriCorps Vista program. So this has been added to the Homes for All Google Calendar that you see when you log into your AmeriCorps Learns account every time you submit timesheets. But this isn't something that's like a requirement. We just thought it would be a neat way, since we weren't able to get together like we typically do at the beginning of the year, to, just kind of meet each other and not feel so like, I don't know, in service, but have a good time. This isn't going to like affect your hours. You're still going to be able to count this as time towards your service. You don't have to be on the whole time. If you can only be on there, from 2 to 2:30 or whatever, that's totally fine too. We just thought it would be a cool way to connect with each other and, have a little fun virtually, I guess. So if you want to participate, we hope that you choose to, and yeah. There's some other things that you guys have probably talked about. Caitlin, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to? I don't care.
I do not have a preference. So,
I will. It's not a big deal. Okay, so you guys have probably heard about the Healthy at Home Eviction Relief Fund. So this is $15 million in relief, and so this is eligible for tenants that live in any Kentucky county except for Jefferson, and that's because Jefferson has their own funding. So we just wanted to share a little bit of information about it. Both the tenant and landlord must fill out an online application. They must have or they each must have one another's email address, the documentation that the tenant is behind on the rent, and then there are other documents listed at the Team Kentucky hherf.ky.gov website. The tenants must meet, certain income guidelines based on the county and the number of persons in their household. Some other information about this fund is landlords must also agree to give that tenant 45 days for any future evictions, and I skipped over. The landlord must forgive 10% of the past due rent, as well as any late fees, penalties, interest related to the non-payment of rent. Applications did open on September 9th, and they are taken on a first completed, first paid basis. So if anyone's like asking you about that, like how long that's going to be open, that application will close when those funds are exhausted. And that assistance is available for past rent dating back to March 1st, as well as future rent. The payment will begin no sooner than September 25th. And then if you are looking for more information, definitely check out that Team Kentucky hherf.ky.gov website. Okay, so there are some things that we need from you. August starts. If you haven't already, please let me and Caitlin know what email you prefer to get program correspondence sent to. If that's changing to a service site email address, please just get us updated. We just want to make sure that we're sending the information to you in a way that we know that you are checking it. If you haven't sent the receipt of your member manual, please send that as soon as possible. And for the September-ish start date, so if you started on like August 31st, or if you started this week, again, just let us know that preferred email, and then get that receipt of the member manual to us by the end of the month, so September 30th. And then we did talk yesterday about those AmeriCorps Learns pre-service forms that have been launched, and they'll be due at the end of the month. For everyone though, when you log into AmeriCorps Learns now and you update your profile information, please update. So we added some categories to that for like your mailing address that you prefer things to be mailed to. So please go into your AmeriCorps Learns account and update your member information, because that's where we're going to look to make sure that we have, correct addresses for you, your birthday, yeah, so stuff like that. So please it doesn't take up much of your time, but please get those categories updated in your AmeriCorps Learns account. And just some reminders, I don't know when, but I will be having my baby whenever she decides that this is going to happen, but it could be very soon. So while I am out, Caitlin will be your point of contact if you have any questions or if you've sent me emails. Of course, I will update and put an out of office email to be sent out, and that way just to kind of prompt you, if you have sent me in an email, it'll just tell you, forward your email to Caitlin. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I will be going on leave sometime soon. And member gear, we will be getting that out whenever we get it. When we get it from our vendor, we will get this all mailed to you. We do plan on sending it to your service site. If you are someone that is serving from home, or if you prefer to have it mailed to your home, please send us your mailing address. Because if we're not notified by you, we're just going to send it to your site. Once you receive that, it is required, I should say, for you to make sure that you are identifying as an AmeriCorps member. Now, that does not mean that you need to wear your Homes for All t-shirt every single day, but you will get a pin or a lanyard or a button. You'll get, a decal and stickers and everything else listed. So just keep that in mind when you get your gear. Okay, that is all. Thank you guys so much for hopping onto our first conference call for the program year. I'm looking forward to the little coffee break that we have coming up on September 16th. And I hope that you guys get all of those things accomplished that you talked about earlier in the call. If you need anything, reach out to us. And Caitlin, do you need to add anything?
No, I was just going to say thank you to our AmeriCorps members. And AmeriCorps members, you can hop off the call. Vista members, we know it's 4 o'clock, so we will get started in a few minutes. We're going to hang up this meeting because we are recording it. We don't want a 2.5 hour long call. So just hang tight and we will pop it back up real quick. Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.